Hello everyone. Good afternoon. I am Dr. Satyashri, consultant obstetrician and gynecologist, Ankura Hospitals, LB Nagar. Today I am here to talk about the topic, how do we recover faster after cesarean delivery. As a part of it, we discuss the topic under an important protocol, that is ERAS, Enhanced Recovery After Surgery. This ERAS has been first designed by Professor Henrik Kellett in 1990. First, he has designed it for colorectal surgeries, and he has extended these things to vascular and thoracic surgeries. Having seen the results of enhanced recovery in the patients, then they have extended it to the major abdominal surgeries and laparoscopic surgeries. And from the past decade, we started applying it to the Department of Obstetrics. And we have been getting an immense recovery rates and a good feedback from the patients from the past decade. So now on, we started ERAS almost from the past decade, and now we do this ERAS mainly for two reasons. One is a preoperative optimizing the organ function, and a postoperative reduction in the stress levels among the mothers. The main key elements in this is preoperative counseling, preoperative reduction in the pain, anesthesia and surgical counseling, and the consents, the surgical consents and the anesthesia consents, the optimizing nutrition of the patients, and the early mobilization of the patient. And our team, the ERAS team, consists of the admission staff, not to forget them, then the obstetrician and the gynecologist, the nursing staff, physiotherapist, and the dietitian. Inclusive of all these, we call them as the ERAS team. So the key elements of this I have already discussed with you. So now talking about this, we categorize this under three main groups. What do we do in the pre-op session, that is before the surgery, intra-op, and during the surgery, and the post-op. So in the pre-op thing, we mainly see with the optimizing patient's nutrition first. That starts when the mother walks into our office almost from the antenatal period. We walk from the first trimester towards the third trimester, normalizing their hemoglobin levels, that is reducing anemia and all, and normalizing the thyroid status, reducing the incidence of PIH and GDM. If at all they're already PIH, reducing their blood pressures to the optimum levels, and maintaining exact sugar values, blood sugar values. So in this way, along with that, optimizing the fetal weight accurately, we walk towards the last trimester. Once a cesarean delivery mode is decided to a patient, then we counsel them with the whole of the team talking to the patient. ERAS recommends the admission of the patient on the same day of the surgery. If at all a patient is coming from a distant place, then we ask the patient to get admitted the previous day to remove any obstacles due to the distance or the patient not adjusting or something. So once the patient is admitted, then we give the counseling regarding the mode of anesthesia, the surgery, the risks and consequences associated with the surgery, and how do we plan the risks and how do we treat it. And we also take the surgical and anesthesia consents on the day prior if the patient is admitted. We ask the patient to take an antibacterial scrub bath a day prior to the surgery to reduce the risk of infection in the postoperative period. ERAS recommends a fasting state of 6 hours for solid foods prior to surgery, and clear liquids 2 hours prior to surgery. The patient can keep on drinking clear liquids up to 2 hours prior to surgery. A recent protocol has come with a carbohydrate loading drink. A carbohydrate loading drink consists of 250 calories and 9 grams of protein, which reduces the patient's hunger, thirst, and maintains patient's nutrition, and also reduces the stress hormone level in the mother during the intra-op and also the post-op period. So last but not the least is the addition of an incentive spirometer. At the time of admission, once the patient is settled in the room, we always ask them to procure an incentive spirometer. I think we have seen in the today's COVID time, what is an incentive spirometer? Just the name looks fancy, but this is the incentive spirometer I'm talking about. And it actually regulates during the post-op period, when the patient is admitted in the post-operative ward, we ask them to use the spirometer for doing the chest exercises and breathing exercises, but we want them to procure it preoperatively. Having said all this, then we speaking about the carbohydrate loading drink. Previously, it was not used in the past decade, but in the recent terms, we are using the carbohydrate loading drink, except for GDM mothers or diabetic mothers. This carbohydrate loading drinks reduces the protein loss during the surgical stress, increases the level of confidence, increases the nutritional status. The patient remains awake and active all through the surgery, communicating with the doctor, anesthetist, and her partner in the OR. We allow one partner in the OR along with the pregnant mother during the cesarean delivery. That is what ERAS recommendation also follows. Then shifting the patient from the pre-op room to the operation theater. Once the patient is shifted into the operation theater, we make sure that the operating room is well warmed. The patient should not be uncomfortable at any level, including the temperature of the room also. So we maintain the temperature between the comfort levels of the patient. Then we maintain the lighting accordingly, and we maintain strict infection protocol. And even the partner in the OR is given a sterile surgical scraps to come in. And once the patient is comfortable and the anesthetist spoke to the patient, then the important required anesthesia is a regional anesthesia, which does a good job with cesarean delivery. Regional anesthesia comprises of both spinal and epidural. We go with the spinal anesthesia. Pain medications are concomitantly given along with, during the surgery, so that the patient doesn't feel once the spinal effect wanes off, the patient doesn't feel immediate surge of the pain or. Then intraoperative fluid management well taken care by the anesthetist, and the abdomen is painted, well draped, following the strict infection diseases protocol with surgical drapes, and chlorhexidine alcohol is the liquids we use for painting the abdomen. Post that, once the skin-to-skin timing is meticulously maintained, we do not allow prolonged exposure of the tissues to the atmosphere to reduce the incidence of post-operative infection, that could be a wound infection or a paralytic ileus. So reducing, meticulously maintaining skin-to-skin from the opening of the abdomen to the closure is maintained very well. Okay, now after done this, after meeting with all the risks and complications associated with the surgery, well maintaining the surgery, and once the patient is stable completely, we shift the patient from the operating theater to the post-operative ward. Post-operative ICU, once we shift, the main complaint of the patient is a pain. Pains, thanks to the NSAIDs and acetaminophen, they are giving an excellent pain control to all my patients, and the usage of opioids is drastically reduced from in the decade. In UK and US, the usage of morphine for pain control is very well used, but in India, morphine is contraindicated in surgery. So we go ahead with NSAIDs and acetaminophen. And pain and thirst. With the carbohydrate loading drink we have given preoperatively, this thirst, stress level, anxiety, and the pain levels are also reduced in the mother who has been shifted to the post-op ICU. After this, after giving of good fluid therapy and pain therapy, we see with the mobilization of the patient. Once the spinal effect wanes off, once she gets the feeling of the limbs, movement of the limbs, whether if she's able to move her toes, her legs, her ankle joints, then her knee joints, then the feeling of touch in her lower limbs, and up to the level of the abdomen, we ask the patient if at all she's feeling any pain. The pain scores are monitored by visual analog scores. from 1 to 10. So if the pain is more than 3, then we always medicate the patient or give a booster dose of a pain medication. If it is less than 10, then we ask the patient, encourage the patient to move her toes, then to move her ankle joint, front, back, sideways, then to flex the knee joints up and down, and if possible, sideways. Once she's comfortable with that, we allow the oral sips to be taken after 2 hours of surgery, after the bubble sounds have been heard. Once we have heard the bubble sound and started oral sips, we slowly ask the mother to turn sideways, to turn this side or that side, whatever she's comfortable with. Once she turns sideways, she's comfortable. And we ask the patient to use her hands, elbows, shoulder joints to slowly raise herself from the bed and sit in a erect posture, resting the legs below the bed. So in this way, she herself will have a confidence, like she's able to get up, she's able to make into a sitting position within few hours of surgery. She's able to do it. That gives an immense feeling of confidence and strength to the patient. And first 24 hours, her walking, her getting up from the bed or her movement should be always assisted. So we ask either the physiotherapy assistant or the nursing assistant or the occupational therapist to be with her, and we doctor ourselves sometimes give a hand to the patient, please make a move. And so we make the patient to put a baby steps first, and then once she regains confidence that yes, she's able to walk, then she walks herself with us remaining behind her and guiding her to walk. And along with that, during when she's lying on the bed only, we ask them to do this incentive spirometer exercises, which I have shown just now. The chest keeps on moving, the thoracic cavity keeps on moving up and down. Along with that, the accessory muscles of the abdomen also moves when we use incentive spirometer. So along with that, the chest physiotherapy, the abdominal physiotherapy, all those protocols are really met with. So the more the patient walks, the better will be her recovery. The better will be the perfusion of oxygen, perfusion of blood to all the parts of the body. And coming to the nutrition, once she takes a sips of water and once she starts walking, and once she starts Pilates, she's ready for a soft diet, and slowly she'll advance to a regular diet. And one more thing is a chewing gum. These days, from the past decade, we have been giving a mother a medicated, sugar-free chewing gums to chew it in the post-op period. So when they start chewing, salivary enzymes get released, the pancreatic enzymes are released, and the saliva itself, we swallow the saliva and the taste, whichever we are getting, and it starts the peristaltic movements from the throat all through the colon and all through the bowel. So this reduces the time for the peristaltic movements from bowel to the colon, from the mouth to the colon, and also reduces the time to pass the flatus. Once patient passes flatus, she is eligible to have a soft diet and a regular diet. And once the patient wakes up for the second time to make a walk, she's eligible for the removal of the Foley's catheter. Yes, so remove all the tubes, remove all the things, then she's fit for moving around. Even if when she has a cannula, it is always recommended that we use a mobile IV stand so that it goes on moving. The patient can take it. She has a support. The fluid therapy goes on when she's moving around in the ward. So this takes place in the first 12 hours of in the post-operative period. After the first 12 hours, we shift the almost in the 6 to 8 hours itself, we shift the patient from the post-operative room to her respective room. Once she goes back, we advise the patient to move around as much as possible, to sit on the bed, not to lie down always. Then for next 24 to 48 hours, her pain medications are very, very well described, and it's pain medication, pain symptom is met with, and her dietary things are met with, and the nutrition gives regular counseling, and the lactation counseling has to be given from the third hour, immediately from the third hour of cesarean, almost in the post-operative room itself. As the patient is well hydrated and well nourished, and the pains are really met with, the mother itself will be very inquisitive to hold the baby, to latch the baby very well to the mouth, and patient will have a positive attitude towards lactation. So that improves the latching of the baby to the mother's breast. That improves the ejection of the milk due to oxytocin release, due to the confidence levels of the patients. And the breastfeeding, which has started now, continues for a longer period of 6 months. So every step we takes the mother to the next 1 week, next 1 month, and next 6 months of the post-operative period. And later on, 24 to 48 hours, once the 48 hours are done, here in Ankura hospitals, we discharge all the cesarean mothers on the within 48 hours. If at all there are no complications, no blood pressure variations, our blood sugars are maintained well, no complications during the surgery, everything is well set, and the patient is discharged within 48 hours. Cesarean delivery is a most commonly done major abdominal surgery worldwide. Every house has a cesarean delivery. Meeting these ERAS protocol strictly with each and every family or each and every patient will bring up a better recovery of the patient, will reduce the postnatal stress which all the mothers suffer after delivery of their babies. Post-traumatic stress or post-natal stress levels are drastically reducing in numbers recently due to the application of ERAS protocol. Main thing which is required for ERAS protocol is compliance. Are the doctors compliant? Are the hospitals compliant? And are they compliant with the protocol with every patient they get? Or are they restricting the ERAS protocol only to few patients, keeping the few patients aside? Monitoring, strict monitoring to which patients we have applied ERAS. If at all we have applied to all the patients who are recovering, who have complaints, what are the complaints? Why is the patient not recovering? Gives us many more new protocols. Hope this helps all my mothers for early recovery. Thank you very much.